That's very powerful. And you can do that with yourself too. I'm worried I will never find love. What do I do? Well, the first thing I would say that you should do is understand that you are not alone in that worry. I guess part of the answer is you act in spite of your worry. And that's actually the best treatment for your worry.
Many men are petrified by women. They won't approach them at all. Men get confused with women. They have no idea how to talk to them. They're just petrified into immobility. And that's the problem too. If you're chronically rejected by people, it's often because of your own insufficiencies. You can't just brush it off as, oh, well, no one likes me, but really I'm okay. It's like, no, wrong. If everyone rejects you, there's probably something wrong. Males have a dominance hierarchy, and there's a relatively small number of males that are relatively successful, and those successful males have preferential access to female reproductive capacity, either because the females actively choose the more dominant males, which is very, very common, or because the more dominant males chase all the less dominant males away, so that even if the females don't exercise choice, which they often do, then the only males left around that can serve as reasonable mating partners are the more powerful ones.
So imagine you had men who could confer benefit and who were incapable of inflicting cost, and men who could confer benefit but were capable of inflicting cost. I think you'd see winners on that side because of that free rider problem. And that ties into what we'll discuss in relationship to the dark triad, because there's some mystery about why women seem to be attracted to these so-called dark triad traits. And I would say that they're using them as insufficient markers for the ability to or the acquisition of status. And narcissists capitalize on that, right? Because a narcissist looks confident. And lots of confident people are competent. But some confident people aren't competent, but they can fool you.
Yes.
And then I think the other explanation is that if you had to choose between a benefit conferrer who could punish free riders and one who couldn't, you should pick the former. If you're more compassionate, more empathic, you're going to feel the hunger of other people and you'd be more motivated to care for them, let's say. But it's also possible that low agreeableness has something to do with, well, perhaps hunting prowess. That might be part of it. And so women are in a conundrum with agreeableness, right? Because they need a mate who's agreeable enough so they can bond with them and that will care for their children and that cares in general. But they need someone who's disagreeable enough so that they're capable, let's say, of dealing with free riders. Women are attracted to some degree to the lower agreeable types, and I think that accounts for the bad boy paradox that you described, at least in part.
If you could teach guys like one thing or two things about women, what would it be? What would you tell them?
Don't chase. Don't chase. And don't be afraid of rejection. My strategy in college would be every time I would see a hot girl, I'd just go up and talk to her. I didn't care if it was in a fucking grocery store, if it was in a library. Like, if I saw a girl that I found attractive, I would just go talk to her. And I wouldn't go up and say, oh, I think you're beautiful and all that cheesy bullshit. I would just go talk to her about whatever. Like, didn't matter. Just have a conversation with her. See where it went, Sometimes it didn't go anywhere. Sometimes they wouldn't want to give you the time of day. Sometimes you'd have a casual conversation, lead nowhere. But at the end of the day, because I did that, it would just make me more comfortable talking to girls. And it was just kind of a numbers game. Now I realize that a better strategy, if you can do it, a lot of guys don't really have their life set up to do it, is set up your life to where the girls have to come to you. And so you don't have to pursue them. And when you don't have to pursue them, like I said earlier, just the dynamic is different when they're chasing you as opposed to you chasing them. The rule is honesty. That's my one rule. It's like, you have to be honest with me and I'll be honest with you. That's pretty much my one rule.